Sometimes our decisions, they shape our own emotional fitness and our ability to be mentally and emotionally strong as well. And I think I realized that this week, and that's why, you know what, I'm gonna be on this journey of trying to figure out but what has been in the way of me making certain decisions. Because, like I
Yeah.
said, I feel for me where I'm at in my life now is a result of the decisions that I've made. Some,
And
as we said earlier on, rational, some irrational, some rational, some irrational.
hi, guys, and welcome to another episode of Conversations, Meaningful Conversations. Um, we hope that you guys are enjoying the conversations that we've had so far. It is Masataho again, and I'm here with Mwekezi.
Hi everyone, nice to see you guys again. Yeah, welcome to episode.
It doesn't matter. Just
Doesn't
another conversation. I think it's yeah. It really
okay,
doesn't matter. Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So Mwekezi, I know you were having deep, meaningful conversations with yourself and deep thoughts. What did you want to chat about today?
I wanted to chat about decisions, Masataro. So the whole thinking around it is, I think it was around Monday. What happened? But I was thinking to myself, I'm like, guys, I need to start making different decisions for my life. So obviously that also meant I need to sort of understand why I haven't made certain decisions as well till this point. Apologies. Why I haven't made certain decisions up until this point, and if I actually understood what a decision actually is, if that makes if that makes sense. Because I think in life we say we know a lot of things, which we might do, but I don't think we understand it in the way that makes it fit in our hearts, our minds, our souls, whatever trigger that switch for yourself in your head. So yeah, that's what I want to chat about.
So would that be different to a choice in terms of how you were looking at it, or would you sort of essentially look at it as the same thing?
Um, so for me, right, and I know we could potentially use the word choice and decision interchangeably, but I
Mhm.
think choice is having the option and decision is actually choosing one of the options.
All right. All right.
If
I'm,
that
I'm with you.
if that makes sense. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like, do we understand?
Okay. So we've had the choice and now we've actually made the decision. We're at
Yeah,
that final
yeah,
point with
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know if you ever had a chat with anyone, but some people will tell you, but I never had the choice. And I was like, no, we had the choice. You just made a different decision.
Oh, that's a contentious one because I think
Yeah,
it's obviously rooted in what the decision was or what the
exactly,
choice was and what the
exactly.
decision there was. So this is a very loaded conversation, obviously.
Yes.
Um, but for you, is there one particular sort of decision or, when you thought about it, was it a particular thing that you're kind of struggling to make a decision about?
No, I think I'm just trying to. I know it's a weird place to be, but I get here. I don't know, once every 5 years, I guess, where it's just like a complete overhaul. So one of the questions I remember asking my wife this week was, I'm like, babes, do I have a bad attitude? And she's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, that does my attitude suck? Like, you can be honest with me. Honest, I won't fight you. I promise. I won't fight you. Because it's just like, I'm, I am not where I thought I would have been on an emotional and mental level at the age that I'm at now. I feel like this is not where I'm supposed to be internally and mentally. It's completely different from how I understand myself or how I know myself to where I am now. So I'm like, why am I struggling to make certain decisions? Am I choosing to be this person or am I deciding to be this person? And even if there are actual situations that are actually that would make sense for a person to feel the way that he feels about life or whatever the case may be, but I can't always let that be the prevailing factor or allow that to be what's showing up in my life now. That's what I'm saying. Like, but to understand what a decision is, what does it take to actually make a decision? That's why I'm like, the choice thing it is contentious. Because like, yeah,
Yeah.
but it makes sense. It makes sense for a person to look at you like, it makes sense why you're here. but does that give you the right for your life to look the way that it does? That's right. That's the whole thinking behind it.
Yeah, so when you mentioned to me sort of wanting to have this, or this was the thought that you were having, I found a quote that I think surmises this whole topic so nicely, and it's by P.K. Subban. I don't know if I'm saying it correct, but it says life is a chess match. So every decision that you make has a consequence to it. Right. So we're constantly making a decision, and the game is constantly changing all the time. And, obviously it's choices, but at that point, after the choice has been made, it's a decision. So it also made me think about a couple I know. So they were in their 20s, young, had been together for a while, and kind of found out that they were pregnant. This was not in their plans, right? Although it was something that they'd spoken about sort of long term, but happening right now, kind of we weren't, sure if this is what we were trying to do. So at that point, when they found out, and obviously went to the chemist and bought the pregnancy thing tested, it came out positive. And at that point, they were both like, we're not ready. This, the decision we're making right now is we're going to terminate. Right.
Yeah.
But then decided to go to obviously have a doctor's appointment, go and check how far along and all of that, so that if they are terminating, are doing it within the time frame. So anyway, go to the doctor, get now they're doing the sonar, right? And instantly, both of them, as they heard the heartbeat, decision changed immediately. It wasn't even a conversation. So going back to that point of, I could make a different choice and a different decision at different points. And it's all influenced by such different things. So just to literally think a day before, they were both adamant that this is not what their lives are about. But you hear a heartbeat, you realize that I'm bringing this person into the world. Like there were so many other factors, and you just almost instantaneously fallen in love with this whatever it is at that point in time. But that was the other thing that I thought about when you spoke about decisions that, can change in a heartbeat, literally, excuse the pun, in terms of the example I've just given.
Yeah. But then you see, that's what I mean, Masako. The choices are there. And I know that's where it's there. It's just that sometimes perspective needs to be present for us to ask better questions or accept better answers for ourselves. Because that's all life is. It's sometimes it's just a series of the questions you choose to ask yourself and others, or the answers you choose to accept from others or from yourself. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And sometimes the difference between that is just perspective. Like
100%.
one of the examples that I was sharing the other day is it's not necessarily the goal that we need to change, but sometimes the methodology in which we get, because if you're going to work, you're gonna get to work. Sometimes if there's a roadblock here, there's resources that you basically like use to basically help you get there when you feel like, but I don't know where I am. Use the GPS. Sometimes you're lucky, you've got the answer in your head, you just get there. But you get there, you must, because life happens, right? And that's what I was trying to just allude to. I'm just like, geez, man, decisions.
Decisions are important.
Decisions. So
Yeah.
I guess then my question to you then, Masitoko, would be, what is a decision?
That is a big question, because I don't even know if I have the answer. As you were speaking now, what I was literally thinking about is a roadmap, like literally a map, right? So obviously when we are young, we're kind of taught how to sort of navigate the world.
Yeah.
Right. And you almost are automated into making decisions based on what you've seen, what's been modeled for you. And as you said, as you sort of, when perspective change, circumstances change, resources change, your exposure to the world changes, your exposure to people sort of starts to change. It then obviously then molds how your decisions are made.
Yeah.
Right. And you get older and you become a husband, you become a wife, you become a mother, you become a father. That then also gets, influences how our decisions are being made. So I think for me, sure, I don't know if I have a simple answer for that question. I think at that moment in time, for me, I've got to make a decision that I feel okay with.
Yes.
Retrospectively, we can change everything in the world, literally. But I think it's about right now with what I know and what I have and what makes sense to me. This is what I choose in this scenario.
Yeah.
And for me, ultimately, it's gotta serve a purpose for me anyway, in terms of understanding what that decision is. So whether, I'm a harsh parent, for example, I need to be okay with the reasoning behind that. If I'm strict, if I'm whatever it is, for me, it's got to serve a purpose. So I think it's such a loaded question. I don't even know if we have enough time for me to even sit and answer, but that's a certain portion of what I would say a decision is for me.
Yeah.
I don't know what would you say for you?
So that's the thing, right? I actually do. That's what I'm saying. We know how to use it, but we understand what a decision is. So there's different definitions, right? So I try to sort of like Google. I think Google even has like different answers. Like one of the four, I guess, that we can look at is it's
Yeah.
basically decide like the act or process of deciding, determination, as of a question or doubt by making judgment. Now that definition reads: to make a decision is to make up your mind about something. To act with decision is to proceed with determination, which might be a natural character trait for some people. Another definition says in psychology, decision making is regarded as the cognitive process resulting in the selection of a belief or course of action among several other alternative options. It could either be rational or irrational. And then the last one is the conclusion or resolution reached after consideration. So those are basically the definitions there. So I guess the natural question one would ask after that is like, what is the common thread in all of these definitions that we basically brought forward effectively?
You're answering that correct. Yeah.
So the common word is determination. And obviously when we look at determination, um it's like it's the commitment to achieve your goals regardless.
Deliberate.
Yes, yes. you know it's very deliberate, regardless of the challenges that you experience. It needs decisiveness and the demonstration of a resolution, of being resolute. you know and it's sort of like what we're talking about now. You do it regardless of what factors are going around in your life. Like I'm saying, some of the decisions that we need to make is setting boundaries, as we've discussed. We think we've done it, but we haven't, because, like I said earlier on, but it's a decision that needs to lead to a good outcome. So why do I feel bad making that decision now? Why is me making the decision to have better boundaries, even though I know it's going to be good for me, making me feel like I'm doing something wrong now? So sometimes we think, but because it feels bad, then this must be a bad decision to make. So that's why I'm wondering if I sometimes fall into that trap and make decisions in long-term decisions based on how I feel now. You know, you
How else would you make a long-term decision aside from how you feel from now?
I think you need to consider the impact of the result that you want to achieve, not the feeling that you're trying to attain along the process.
Granted, but I think what's also important, and what we also, well, I think with what
Mm,
you've said, you
mm.
need to allow yourself that room to understand that it's not always necessarily mutually exclusive.
Yes. Yes.
And I think that sometimes maybe the thing is that we try and sort of separate the decision making from the emotions.
Yes.
And it's not necessarily mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
It's one is going to be linked to the other. All
Yes.
right. And then a few days later, I feel differently about it. And then maybe I change the decision or whatever. So I think that's the hard thing as well. And also getting to the point where we're not making emotional decisions.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I'm trying to
Also,
say. Yeah.
But also maybe making an emotional decision right now is the only thing I've got in terms of making a decision.
Yes. But then
Right?
what would an example of that be, of an emotional decision? Because usually for me, right,
Mhm,
emotional
mhm.
decisions, I feel crap making them, but I know it's going to end up well in the future. I don't know if that makes I don't know if that makes sense.
Like what? Because I think while you're thinking, well, what
Mm,
is important is that I think a lot of times we I think we're so forgiving. Maybe I must speak for myself.
mhm,
I can be so forgiving as a person that I don't necessarily want to make an emotional decision, and I'll give people the benefit of the doubt, and I want to buffer a
mm,
lot of my decision making.
mm.
But then maybe it is important to actually make that decision because if this is, for example, repetitive behavior,
Yeah,
right? Maybe I need to make an emotional decision because then that's setting boundaries in terms of what I should and shouldn't allow in terms of how this person affects me, for
yeah,
example. So I think it's such a it's a big topic.
yes,
Um, and it's I think for me what's most important is understanding what is this decision I'm making, right? Whether big or small, right? And I know we're having quite a big conversation, but it can also sometimes be some of the smallest things and something as simple as what I'm eating and how it's going to have long-term effects. But it's just like, I'll deal with that later. Right now, this slab of chocolate looks good and
and
I'm
it's
going to have
calling my name. It's calling my
right?
yeah,
And you know what? When they call it, we must answer. And that's momentary. This is the decision that I'm making, even though I know maybe in the long run I actually shouldn't be having that. So it's just, I don't know. I think it's that constant internal conversation with yourself in terms of understanding what it means to you.
yeah. So I think that the to sum it all up, if I'm allowed to, I think we need to understand that your decisions shape everything. They shape they shape destiny, they shape
Mm.
culture, whether internal culture or family's culture, but it shapes it. If I'm allowed to say like that, I'm not trying to be like really deep about it or whatever, but I think that's the truth. And I think sometimes our decisions, they shape our own emotional fitness and our ability to be mentally and emotionally strong as well. Um, and I think I realized that this week, and that's why, you know what, I'm gonna be on this journey of trying to figure out, but what has been in the way of me making certain decisions. Because, like I
Yeah.
said, I feel for me where I'm at in my life now is a result of the decisions that I've made. Some,
And
as we said earlier on, rational, some irrational, some rational, some irrational.
yeah.
Um, so I guess I'm just trying to figure out how do I myself make decisions, um, and how do I see life panning out for me in the next 10, 15, 20
100%.
years?
As you're saying that, I'm just thinking of a simple thing like making this decision to put myself, and I can't speak for you, Mo, I don't know how you feel about this, putting myself out. This is a difficult decision because I'm naturally a very private person. So to have one, my face all out there, one, but with my opinions, because it also opens you up to so much criticism. And I think with this journey, part of it is what it's going to be is understanding for me at that point what the decision was, knowing well what could happen in terms of the comment and the people that are out there. And so for both of us, I mean, I think we're going to have to come back and constantly review like this decision. Is it a good decision? Is it a bad decision? Um, but yeah, so for me, I think it's going to be a huge platform for growth, right? Because to literally have everything that is you out for people to sort of criticize and do as they will. But yeah, this is just going back to in terms of decision making. So I think at this point in time, it makes sense in terms of, like we said in the initial one, our connection and being able to have conversations, it's a great decision to make. So let's hope we feel the same after a few more of these and after a few more comments. But yeah, but besides that, I think I'm really excited to continue to have these conversations, to continue to hear what people's thoughts are, because I think that is important.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll allow us to grow, and people aren't just trying to break us down, but we'll see. But yeah, as always, this was an awesome conversation. Always gets those wheels turning in terms of how we see things differently, how we see things the same, even though sometimes we might articulate them very differently.
Yeah, completely agree with you. I think this is a phenomenal decision, irrespective of the thoughts that people have. I mean, you and I think very differently. I think that's very evident now. And I think it's good to understand that just because a person disagrees, obviously we assess why and the reasons behind it, but it's just for the sake of causing conflict, that's on you. I used to, well, my biggest insecurity with this whole journey is like people are going to, is this guy an idiot? What does he say? Type thing. But I welcome that, man. It might not necessarily be nice. You think, this was a bad idea. But that's what I'm saying. When we make a decision, we shouldn't let circumstances of life take that away from us. Because I think that's how we end up bitter. That's how we end up resentful when you just like, I gave up too quickly on myself. I gave up too soon on myself because of what someone else did or what someone else thought of me. So yeah, but it will be great. I think the growth will be phenomenal. And yeah, I think that's it. That's it from me for today.
But thank you so much, guys, for joining us. I hope this has been a good conversation. Please like, please subscribe, please add comments, anything else that you guys want to talk about. We are more than happy to. But other than that, guys, take care of yourself. MK, take care of yourself until the next conversation.
You too. Bye, everyone.
Bye.